'Tis I, Mep7, and CYCLOLCYC is one of the hardest impossible levels in Geometry Dash history. Not only does it have insane timings, insane CPS, and some pretty crazy gimmicks, it's also 6 minutes long. But have you ever stopped to wonder, what would this level be like if it was possible for a human being? Well, today I'm going to be doing just that. I've taken a copy of CYCLOLCYC and I'm going to nerf it into oblivion. And by oblivion, I don't mean free, I also don't mean the level oblivion. I'm talking about, like, top 10 difficulty, so it'll still be really, really difficult, just, you know, not impossible. Now really quick, before we get into the actual building of the level, there are 2 things that I want to go over. Number 1, I'd actually planned on this being the first video I ever uploaded to my channel, but just got too scared by how ambitious this project seemed. But now that I'm better at YouTube, and I decided to take it on for real this time. And the second thing I wanted to say is that the first half-ish of this video was recorded before I got a new microphone, so a lot of the audio quality won't be quite as good in the first half as you'll see in the second half, so you'll just have to power through that and just accept the fact that it won't be amazing. But other than that, let's get right into super nerfing CYCLOLCYC. Guys, I spent 22 hours in the editor building this level, and then I had to edit all of that footage together. This was so insanely difficult for me to make, so if you enjoy this type of video and want to see more like it in the future, I'd love it if you could show your support by maybe subscribing to the channel if you want to, and also if this video performs well, that'll show me that you guys like this type of content and I should make more in the future. Thank you.
So here we have CYCLOLCYC, and this beginning is confusing. So the first thing I want to do is make these jumps a lot more doable. I don't really understand them. I'm going to take these saw blades and just delete all of them. Like that. And then these toggle orbs will also be removed. One more thing I'm going to get rid of is going to be these mini saw blades here. Finally, these little mini spikes at the edges. Yep, and then these first few jumps, I'm going to delete the first 2. They're pretty much completely blind. These are not insanely difficult, but also aren't very easy, so that's good. Okay, how's this gonna work? I think what I'm gonna do is get rid of these big spikes, so we just have the small ones. And I'm also gonna this mini spike here. Now I'm gonna get rid of it. It's still really hard. And this clip honestly feels fine. I don't feel like that needs to be nerfed by much. So what I'm going to do here is get rid of this yellow pad and replace it with a blue pad. I'm going to paste its state and color. So now this green orb red pad thing that's going on here is completely unnecessary. It's now just a red pad. So get rid of this spike here. I got rid of this big one up here, so now this dash orb should feel a lot more consistent. And then this yellow speed portal here, I'm going to copy and paste that, extend it, and then make it invisible just to keep the speed change consistent, since the level's possible now, so there might be some variations in where you hit that. Okay, so I think what I'm going to do for this part is to remove this spike, make that a little easier. And I think I'm actually going to leave this saw blade altogether. And these pink orbs, I'm going to move them each up by half of a space, getting into this a little easier. And this dash orb will be a green orb, so a more consistent gravity change. Let's see if that feels okay. I still think this thing with the pink orbs is insanely difficult. So how could I nerf that? I could get rid of these spikes, that, and then also get rid of these slopes, and then take these spikes like here. Yeah, that makes a lot more open and gives you a lot more room for error, so yes, I really like that. Okay, so you have these impossible things. I do think I am going to get rid of these entirely. It's still really hard with the spikes inside of the block, so I'm going to remove the spikes from the interior of these blocks. So now it's a lot easier to just do that. Next we have this insane micro click. Okay, big spikes are invisible, so what's stopping me from just getting rid of these? In fact, this click is probably hard enough with just this up here, so I'm going to get rid of the ceiling one. and then also move this whole structure over by half. No, we'll do a full space. A lot more room to set up your next click instead of having to time it to land really early like this. Okay, here's what we do. There we go. So we record the hitboxes of a successful attempt, and then we make it so that holding is how you get through this. Select these spikes, all these, move these spikes over so that you will survive by holding. Okay. And this jump, again, I'm just going to get rid of these little corner spikes to make it your normal mini cube half speed frame perfect. So here you got a black orb there. I'm just going to get rid of this spike because it's still hard due to the fact that it's pretty much blind. On top of that, this whole part of your cube is just flashing in and out of existence, so it's really hard to tell what's actually happening. Okay, here we got a stack of, what do we have here? Black and green. I'm going to get rid of the black orb, just to make it a green orb click. This spike, I'm not going to get rid of it. I'm just going to move it over, just to make it a little easier. Still have to hit that green orb pretty late, though. Okay, I think, honestly, the strategy would just be take these big spikes and just get rid of them. I think that would be the best way to go about this. And here I'm going to do exactly what I did before and just get rid of the big spikes. This is actually somewhat doable. Okay, so here's what I do. We don't need this portal, I don't know why that's here. We don't need this. Now with these pink orbs, I don't like the way that it doesn't line me up for this jump very well. So I'm going to get rid of this last one. Move this structure to the left one and do something like this. I need to move these over, but once I do that, I mean, it looks okay. And then these clicks, I mean, again, they're definitely doable. It's just the problem is this level's so long and I don't want it to be like too highly concentrated in terms of difficulty. I want a lot of the difficulty to come from the length of the level. And obviously it's still going to be really, really difficult, but I want the length to contribute to a large portion of the difficulty, and by having too many of these all at once, these really hard parts, I feel like that takes away from the goal of this level. This part feels really difficult, but I think I'm definitely going to get rid of this. Probably this spike here. This one feels doable, so I might get rid of this spike, but keep this one. Alright, so what I want here, instead of this pink orb shenanigan thing, get rid of this and get rid of this portal, and just place a blue orb down here. So now, let's do that. God, this is a lot to take in. So I'm gonna get rid of these here, and then I'm also gonna move this blue portal up by half a space, so that now, yeah, you can more consistently get on top of this block. I'm going to get rid of this spike and add a black orb here. So here, I think we just remove this spike here to make this dash orb a little more forgiving. Actually, no. I think it would be better if we just change this up a little bit. So, delete this dash orb, and also delete these spikes. So you have to hit this block orb to go into the ball portal, go back up to here, and then go down here, up here, down here. Just regular ball clicks. Alright, these dash orbs are going to need to be changed. So instead of doing 3 of them, let's just do 1. That. There we go. We'll also make this release more forgiving by getting rid of these spikes and then moving this one over. Now this blue speed portal, I have to make a copy of it and warp it so that you always hit it on the same X value every attempt. For some reason this level doesn't do that, so this warped version will be on hide. Okay, I'm going to make these spikes inside of the slopes be no touch, but other than that, I mean, this part feels fine. You just have to hold through that. I don't really know how that made it into the level, but yeah, let me just make these spikes no touch really quick. So here you have a blue pad that hits you into a pink orb, and you have to hit these 2 pink orbs up. So what I'm going to do, move these down and to the right, like that, so that it's a lot easier to hit these pink orbs coming off the blue pad. Alright, so right here, I'm going to get rid of this, and also get rid of these spikes, and then move this structure over just have to hit these blue orbs. Actually, you don't have to hit them yet. This only makes it so you do have to hit them. So here I'm going to get rid of these blue pads and make this a green dash orb. I'm actually going to move this up by half the space. I'm going to make this yellow orb a pink orb, so it doesn't give you like way too much height and hit the saw blade. Right here, make it go upside down. You have to hit the blue orb really late and then hit these pink orbs. That's insane. Okay, here's what I'm going to do. Get rid of these. Get rid of this blue orb. Now I'm place this yellow portal, a blue portal. Now place this red jump pad, with a blue one. Now for this ship, there are a lot of invisible like portals and orbs and pads and all of that. And I'm not a huge fan of that. So I want to either, make some of them visible, or just remove them and turn this into more of just a raw ship skill check. It'd be hard to nerf, that's okay though. I'm gonna make this orb and portal visible. Of course, since they're visible, I have to give them all the colors of everything else, so that, they still have this, like, dark blue color to them and fit with the style of the level. I would like to get rid of this spike, maybe replace it with a smaller spike, give you a little more freedom in this ship, and I think I'll do the same for these three. Okay, I kind of like the idea of you just holding to go up here, so I'm going to delete this dash orb, delete this spike, and then make this spike a smaller one to pick up a little easier. You have this spike here, which I'm going to get rid of. Could put like a pink jump pad here. Yeah, I mean it works. I don't think this kills you. At least it shouldn't. Just in case it does, I'm gonna make that a smaller spike though. Alright, they just fixed up the decoration to look at least a little better with those missing spikes. Okay, so here, I'm gonna delete these, put a black orb here, and then I think I'll also put another black orb here. So, you have to go down this area, so hopefully that works. Okay, I like that. I just made the spike smaller, and so that gap is a lot more consistent now. I think what I'm going to do is get rid of all of these and do another little black orb. Okay, I'm going to get rid of this spike, move this down by half the space, and then take this whole structure and move it up by half the space. I'm going to do the same to these two structures by moving them down half the space. This is doable, I think. I'm going to get rid of this spike though. Yeah, because I feel like that will take away a lot from the difficulty. Nice, and then I'm going to move this whole structure up by one space, because it's really tight. We don't need it to be that tight. And I think I'm actually going to make this red orb a yellow orb, just to give you a bit more freedom with your ship. Now we have a wave. So I think what I do here is I get rid of all of these little spikes, and then grab this structure here, up by one space to the left by one space, just to give you a more friendly transition into the wave. That just feels a lot more like fair, going into, starting off with a big gap. Now, this speed portal here, let's move it up, make it visible, and then create a warped copy so you have to enter it in the same spot every time. This one will be on hide. Alright, now I'm going to get rid of these little spike things, because they're already invisible, and just artificially buff the gameplay, which we don't need. I'm going to move this whole structure up by one space, because we don't want it to be free, That is really fast. But yeah, it's doable though, that's the thing. I'm definitely going to balance the level a lot more than it currently is after, fully completing it before I do like a showcase and upload it and all that, to make it, more balanced, obviously, but for now, this is good. I'm gonna get rid of the dual portal, because this does not need to be a dual. So obviously these blue orbs are gonna have to go. And then I'm going to try my best to make this spam, humanly possible, but still not get rid of what makes it special, which is that it is wave spam. What I'm gonna do is gonna get rid of all of these spikes. So now here I'm gonna add a big portal. Scale it down just a little bit. There we go. Yeah, I can actually do that spam. It's one hand actually, two hands, it's like way even easier. Yeah, I mean I wasn't perfect, but it works. Now for this, I'm just gonna make it like a slaughterhouse type of deal. might need to be nerfed a little bit. As of right now, I think it's good. And this part's going to be really hard, because we have a ship wave duel. So I don't know if I should keep it a duel, or just make it, you know, one path. And if I do make it one path, which one I should do. We could actually keep it dual, and delete all of this macro buffing, and then just have it kind of play itself. So here's what D blocks all over this whole wave part, so that you don't actually have to do anything down here, but your wave will still go through all of this stuff, you know? There we go. So now, this wave should hopefully play itself. So now, no matter what I do, the wave should be fully automatic. Yes. Now to make this ship gameplay. Okay, hopefully this ship is playable. Let's see. Yeah, that's playable. Okay, so here, I think I'm going to get rid of these so that you go into this with normal gravity. I'll make this portal visible, and then I'll move this structure up by one space for an easier, more consistent entry into it. And then, once you are mini here, I'm going to replace these two spikes with mini spikes like this, and then get rid of the mini spike here. Here, it goes into a dual part, but I don't want it to be dual, so let's get rid of this dual portal. And then let's also nerf this straight fly here. So what I'm going to do is move this up by half of a space, and this down by half of a space. And I'm also going to get rid of this pink orb, and then nerf this structure here. And then also nerf this structure. And then there are invisible spikes here, which isn't cool, so I'm just going to get rid of those. Now right here, it goes back into a cube section. Then you have this green orb, yellow jump pad into a blue orb here. What I think I'm gonna do is get rid of the blue orb and the yellow jump pad. Obviously make the green orb visible. And then add another green orb here. So you have to hit both of these to go over these spikes. So weird, like this level randomable has like completely doable clicks. Like this one right here. I mean, other than making this pink orb here visible, I don't think there's much else I need to change. Then you have this whole mess of orbs. I'm not going to deal with this. I'm just going to... this green orb here. Yeah, that works very well, actually. Let's see, I think I just make these mini spikes like this. I think that'll be enough. And then I'm also just going to get rid of this because that is way too difficult of a timing. I'm going to move this red orb up by one space, so you're encouraged to hit it higher up, so you'll actually, you know, get through that gap there. I think I'm just going to get rid of this because it just adds unnecessary difficulty. I'll also get rid of this spike, and I think I'll also probably get rid of these spikes, and then I'll add this structure over here to prevent you from jumping over the blue orb and just hitting the stash orb. Okay, so here, instead of doing these two blue orbs, what I think I'm going to do is just make it a black orb click. So here, we're going to get rid of this pink orb here, and then also get rid of this spike so you don't have to jump off of this, and you can easily get inside of this black orb yellow portal combo. Then we have the infamous speed portal right here that ruins bots of this level. So I'm going to fix that and make everyone happy. There we go. Now, bots of this level will be so much more consistent. It wouldn't be a problem even if it was left the same because of how much I'm nerfing this level, but you know, still, I'm doing people a favor, alright? Now, most of these nerfs that I'm making to this part are just like, you know, small little changes like making all the orbs and stuff visible and just widening different gaps. Now we have another wave part, and I think the easiest thing that I can do would be to just make it big. So let's do that really quick. There we go. And I also added some D blocks right here to make the transition into the wave a little friendlier. And then I think I'm going to get rid of these slope spikes. And right here, I'm going to make it mini again. And then add some D block here to make the transition into this cube portal more friendly. Right, more simple, miscellaneous nerfs going on right here. Nothing really worth commenting on. Alright, so I nerfed this little corridor thing here with the robot.
Alright, so here, I'm going to take these yellow pads and move them down here, and then add more above it, so now when you go through it, it'll be something like this. It launches you up just enough to get over those spikes, but not too high that you hit these. Perfect. I'm gonna get rid of this black orb and this blue orb, as well as this green portal. And then I'm also gonna remove all of these portals here, and as well as these blue orbs. And same with this portal, and these macro buff spikes. And then I'm also gonna get rid of these spikes here, and then slightly nerf this straight fly. And then to nerf this, I'm just gonna get rid of these mini spikes on the top here. There we go. Let's also remove this little macro buff thing here. Okay, so I'm going to change this up a little bit right here. So this yellow jump pad will launch you up here. And I'm just going to move this spike here. So you still have to click the black orb, but it's a lot less punishing. And now we have another wave part. So I'm going to move the wave portal here. I'm going to get rid of all these portals inside of it because they are not needed. And then finally, I'm just going to add a couple of D blocks here to make the transition into the wave a little more friendly. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is get rid of all of this, move this yellow portal down to about here. Okay, maybe we move this to the left, like that. Because I want you to be able to buffer this black orb. Okay, so here I'm going to get rid of the dual portal. And then also get rid of this wave portal. So now we just have this ship section. Alright, this stuff is just more generic nerfs, like increasing the size of certain gaps, and just removing all of these like macro buffed type spikes. Okay, so here, I'm going to take this whole platform and move it to the left by half a space. So that now this spike gap here is a bit more forgiving. And then right here, I'm going to add a big portal, so that this wave is now big. And then I'm going to grab this structure and move it down by one space, down by half a space. Okay, so what I want to do for this robot click is actually just get rid of these spikes and this platform and replace that with this little contraption here, since you're a robot and so you can actually hold after landing. Let's delete this spike, move this one to the ceiling, and then half space it over. Add some D blocks here. Let's see, I want you to have to jump out of here so you don't hit this spike. And then we'll move this blue orb here. And decide, do I need to nerf these yellow orbs? No. I think they're doable. I might nerf them later. Okay, so yeah, this is all pretty good. I just think I need to make most of these gaps just a little bit more forgiving. There you go. This feels about right. And now, the moment we've all been waiting for. The save, aka the drop. Okay, so for this part of the level, what the original level does is that it's two-player and you have to play this little top corridor here while also playing this whole bottom gameplay. Now what I want to do, since this is only one player, is make it so that you still have to do this bottom part, but the top part will be like a wave part with D blocks on the floor and ceiling, and the clicks that you do down here will align with clicks up here that, you know, avoid spikes by going up and down. Here, let me show you what I mean. So essentially, we have this wave up here. And yeah, it's just gonna do this and avoid spikes. Gonna get rid of these invisible spikes, as well as these big spikes here. Okay, so nerf the straight fly. You have an orb there. Again, I'm just gonna get rid of these spikes. All these buffs just aren't that interesting. It's just, hey, this is hard. Let's make it easier, you know? Okay, so this part right here, you gotta hit these red orbs in the ship to not hit these spikes. So what I think I'm gonna do is just get rid of all of the hazards here and all of the orbs and stuff. And we'll make this part auto and make you have to focus on much more difficult gameplay in the wave above. Now the wave above should align pretty well with the ship click pattern. Now I got rid of all the spikes down here, so this part's now auto. So I'm going to make the wave up here do like a slaughterhouse type thing, so... I'm going to get rid of these thorny spike things, so you're just on the ground, and then I'm going to make you have to do like, you know, micro clicks to control the wave up here, so you don't go too high and hit these spikes. I think that'll be fun. And then right here, I'm going to do the same thing as over here, except this time you have to stay on the ceiling as the ship and do smaller releases as the wave on top. Alright, so I greatly nerfed this corridor. I got rid of all the spikes in the middle, plus I removed half of these pink orbs. I'm actually going to align these more in the middle so they don't go down like the previous level's path did. Alright, so I'm also going to get rid of these spikes so that right here you can just hold to go over this little spike here. And let's also get rid of all of these. Alright, I just did some more generic ship nerfs, like removing spikes, making gaps wider, stuff like that. And then right here, instead of having a little, like, couple dash orbs that you have to micro-click or whatever, I just made it go upside down, red orb, right side up. Now for this, I think it'd be smart to just get rid of all these orbs inside of the floor and ceiling, because that just adds some unnecessary clutter. Then what I think I'm going to do, just make these all the little smaller spikes, and get rid of the bigger spikes around them. You know, you still have to straight fly this pretty accurately. However, you don't have to worry too hard about, you know, going up and down, because it's mostly just straight fly. Yeah, what I think I might do here is just add a green orb, go down here, and then another one to go back up. Should be fine. Maybe, I think I'll actually get rid of these spikes down here, so that the green orb to get down is more consistent. Okay, what am I gonna do? I mean, again, like, rapid fire orbs and ship parts is just nothing that you see outside of impossible levels. So once I get rid of those, I mean, it feels pretty easy to just get rid of these spikes. So you just have a mini ship straight fly through this. I think that could work. Okay, time for this UFO. I think if I just get rid of that spike like that, and maybe these, should make this click, you know, hard but doable, which is the goal of this level. And then we also need to get rid of these spikes. So this is actually possible now. What I think I'm going to do is move this black orb up to here, and make it so you have to hit this black orb, and I get rid of these spikes down here. There's already a black orb here, so I think I'm just going to leave the black orb and make it so you have to hit it in order to get through this gap. And then I think for this last one here, I'm going to place a blue orb. So now for this, I'm just going to get rid of these green orbs, because that makes things way too difficult. Then I'm going to make this whole gap that you have to go through a little bit wider to make this like more standard UFO corridor gameplay. Okay, so I made the gap wider and made all of the spikes and stuff visible. So now I'm going to add like real gameplay into it. Okay, so what I think I'm going to do here is first get rid of all of this macro buff stuff and also these black orbs. I'll get rid of this middle red orb too. What's going to happen here is you're going to have to hit this red orb to go up to the ceiling, and then at the top there you'll have a slope that pushes you down into the second red orb to find a place where it'll feel decent along with the gameplay. Yeah, I mean, this works. I'm gonna make these red orbs visible, obviously, but then it should be good. I'm actually pretty excited to work on this because I have a good idea. This part works is you're just hitting black orbs inside of gravity portals as the UFO, and you gotta do it really fast, so you're like bouncing up and down a lot, you know? It's really fun. So what I'm gonna do, okay, this is gonna sound crazy, but I'm actually gonna remove all of it. There we go. So now it's all gone. And what I'm gonna do is basically create new gameplay that has the same feel to it as that gameplay. I'm actually really happy with that. Yeah, this gameplay's fun to pull off. Okay, so I've gone ahead and added the wave gameplay to the top for this whole UFO part. So yeah, now it's on to where the bottom part is also the wave. And I kind of have an idea for how I want this to go. So right here, we'll give the player a D block on group 8. And then for the rest of this part, group 8 will lock to player X, and then we'll have it on a follow player Y trigger. There you go, so now you have a D block wherever you go. And that's what I wanted. So now I'm gonna kind of trim away at some of these spikes. Like that, so you gotta expertly weave through these. And then for this part, you're also gonna have the D block with you. But I'm just gonna get rid of like half of the spikes that you see. Okay, so I think I've done something that I like. We're gonna have to go and make all of these spikes visible, but this does feel fun to play. Random blocks you phase right through for some reason, but I'll fix that up. Okay, so I've spent about 20 minutes putting these default blocks inside of all of these here to stop things like this from happening. So now they shouldn't be happening. But it was impossible because these are all completely off grid, and it was so hard, but whatever. Hopefully it should be working now. It still doesn't fully work. Oh, it's because the D block isn't following me perfectly. That's why. Yeah, now it should work fine. Oh, oh, never mind. I didn't waste all that time because this still doesn't work. Why does it just go through it? Okay. Okay, so it was an error with the follow player Y trigger. I spent 20 minutes wasting my time, but that's okay. Alright, it's robot time. Okay, so the entire wave part back here deleted, and so I had to remake that completely from scratch. So it might be a little different, but whatever. So now it's robot time. So let's delete these spikes like that. That makes this click doable. Let's see. Yeah. No, more than doable. Wonderful. So I want to have you click to go up to there. So I'm going to delete that spike. And let's see, I think I'll delete this spike, but then put a spike like this right here, and move this over here, and then down by 1.5. You jump over the spike, hit this orb, hit that orb, and then you're in here. Beautiful. Love that. God, this is so poorly made. I just spent like 20 minutes redecorating this wave part to make it actually look not bad. Ugh, whatever. Okay, and then I think I just have you jump over a spike structure like this. And let's get rid of the slope and stuff, because it's all invisible. And okay, so now I have to make this jump and then hold this dash orb. Yeah, I like that. And it bothers me that these spikes are upside down, so let's just fix that. Like that, maybe? Make this a spike pillar and you just have to jump over the whole thing. Ooh, and maybe I could even put like one of these right there. I think what I do here is I replace this blue orb with a pink dash orb. So now you dash through these spikes. I'll just put like one of these right here to force you to jump. Ooh, and then maybe a black orb. So you have to jump and then hit that to go down. And then do whatever it is you do in this part. Okay, I think I know what you're supposed to do in this part. So I think you are a robot, obviously. And you're upside down. You have to hit this blue orb to go normal gravity, and then hit it again to go upside down again, so you can jump off of this little pillar here. I think. But then that doesn't explain how you get through these spike columns. I don't know. It's not my job to know. It's my job to make this doable. So now, we just have these little columns, so you can... I'll probably have the player jump on them like, what's that one level? The thing. I'll have my editor put up what I'm talking about. Anyways, take all of these pillars, put them on color channel 3, get rid of group 1, so now they are visible. If I do that, see? Visible. Okay, so now we get into the mini part. Immediately have to do one of those jumps where you jump into the pad and it gives you like a mega jump thing. Okay, so what I think I'll do here is place a dash orb and then have some lines extending out from it. And then we will link this all together, grab the dash orb, put them to group parent, grab this whole structure, and I'll plop the dash orb right here. And then I will use rotate. Oh, whatever, I guess the group parent thing isn't working for some reason. But I can still rotate this to see exactly where the dash orb will take me. And I'll just remove snap this onto the... This game is so broken. It's fine, because that's a great rotation for me. So those spikes being upside down at this part, I don't get it. Like, what does this accomplish? Okay, so for this cube, let's make this first jump here just a pink jump pad. And then you have to hit these 3 blue orbs, so let's do something like that. Okay, I think this is good. I think I'll actually make this a mini spike, but other than that, yeah. Okay, let's just make this a blue orb here. And get rid of these spikes. Okay, and then we can do like a pink orb timing. Something like this. In the original version of the level, there was a blue orb here that you had to kind of double click to go up and then down back onto this platform. So what I think I'll do here is have 2 blue orbs. So you have to hold off of here and then click this, that. I think that should be good. Okay, so I think I'll just put like a pink orb here and call that part good. Yeah, that green orb actually works surprisingly well. And we'll just have that go into a blue orb here. Alright, now we have the orb spam part. Because I want it to still be like, you know, blue orb spam type of deal. But I don't want it to be this. Yeah, this could actually work. I'm actually happy with that, and I didn't even have to change any of the spikes. Now what I could do here is replace this with a regular pink dash orb, non-tilted one, and then put a yellow gravity portal here. And then let's get rid of some of those blue orbs. Let's get rid of these spikes and this blue orb. So now you just have to click this and then hold, and you'll go right into here. Perfect. Beautiful. Now I need to make this wave part. So hold, please.
Okay, so next we have this ball part. I am going to make this first click just auto, like that, so that's a lot more consistent, you know, going into this. Okay, now this is spike tunnel. Good, there we go. I think this works. I'm gonna add an upside down gravity portal right here. So we'll go into that and then I have to click this black orb. I'll do a similar thing here, but with a blue pad instead of gravity portal. I think I'm gonna do something very similar to this for the rest of these clicks. For this, I think what I'm gonna do is get rid of these spikes surrounding it, like this. Flip these spikes like this. Yeah, something like that. Very likely died to the spike. I might nerf these in the final version, but this one felt very doable. Okay, how do I make this doable? Okay, so right here, I'm gonna do something that you see in a lot of impossible levels, but like, this will be the easier version of it, where I do something like this. You know, you gotta micro-click. Actually, I think I will only do one, since you technically don't have to micro-click it even, since you're in the ball. That's why I did it here. You can just hold and be fine. But I still think it's gonna be a somewhat tight timing, and I don't want to have you do 2 of those in such quick succession. Alright, I've just got the spider and ship left, and then we're finally done with this duel. So, right here, you're supposed to click this blue orb and like clip inside of here and then click to teleport down, but that's just mean. So I'm just putting a blue orb, a blue pad here. I'll slightly nerf this click. Yeah, that's good enough. I think I'm actually gonna get rid of this whole thing. Yeah, so now we just have this platform, and then this, instead of being a green orb, black orb. Alright, now with these dash orbs, I'm going to just turn this into one green dash orb. So you have to hold it, go through here, and then, yeah, late time this blue orb to get to here. I like that. And this will be a pink orb instead of a blue orb. Unless, hang on, what if I make this a yellow orb? and then put a black orb like here-ish. Yeah, okay. I like that. Then I'll put a blue pad here. Make your gravity go back down. I'm gonna slightly buff this by putting some saw blades down to match up with the click pattern. You know, make it not entirely free. And here, I'm gonna put a blue orb and just see what clicking that does. Then I'm gonna put a blue portal right here, scale it down. Then you're gonna hit that blue portal, gravity's gonna go back to normal, and you're gonna hit this green orb. Send you through here. Actually, I'm gonna make this a pink dash orb. Okay, I think this slope is supposed to like boost you up, so you go through here, but you have to teleport up to get onto it at the perfect point. But that's obviously not happening in this nerfed version. So what I could do, something like this. Okay, so I bumped these all up by one space, and now I'll put a green dash orb here, so now it launches you up, and then you have to click this dash orb and go through here. It's not that bad of a timing, but coming off the slope it will be a little awkward, so. Okay, I feel like this part does need to be... Oh, I did this part, though. That's crazy. I managed to actually do it. I'm still probably gonna nerf it. Let's make this a green dash orb. And then I think I'll get rid of this black orb. Keep this blue orb here. Yes, yeah. And I'm gonna turn that yellow orb into a blue orb. So you can change your gravity to go up here. So you can teleport down here, which hits a blue pad instead of a blue orb, to go up through here. And then all of this nonsense, we'll just make this auto. Okay, so now we have this ship. God, this is going to be miserable. Okay, so I think what I'm going to start with is moving this whole structure down by one. Add spikes like this to the top. They're only going to be in these last 3 blocks to give you some space to actually, prepare yourself for the flying. And now the second structure, I'm going to move it all up by 1 block. And then make that into straight fly like that. There we go. And I'm just going to do the classic move all of this down by a block. For this one, these orbs really make it special. Okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get rid of these orbs. And then make these spikes farther apart. I think I'm actually going to move these orbs into the gameplay so that they're easier to click. I'm going to get rid of, I think, the first 3 rows of spikes in here. To once again, give you a chance to settle into this new straight fly that's being thrown at you. I'm also going to move this whole top part up by 1 block. And I think I'll just add some invisible blocks here so you can bonk your head for a more consistent entry into here. And this will just be another basic nerf, and I'm probably just going to move the top up by a little bit. Alright, this used to be the most impossible straight fly ever, but now it's just... The only real difficulty is getting the ship into this gap using this dash orb. Obviously, I'm still going to add some challenge to it, so hopefully I make something. And that is the end of this ship section. But I need to do all the work with the duel, so I'm going to go do that. Okay, I am finally done with this duel. Yes! And I'm really happy with how it turned out. Bunch of simple nerfs for this ship. Just going to move this down by half of a space, so you no longer have to squeeze through there. Just do basically the same thing for the rest of these caps. Okay, there we go. This is much more doable now. Okay, yeah, something like this. So we still have spikes to go through, but obviously it's much, much easier. Oh my god, nerfing this is gonna be hell.
Oh god, I absolutely hate minus waves. It's just so unoriginal. It's not fun. So, what I think I'm gonna do is just remake this whole wave part. And it's gonna be single player, not in the duel. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. So, hold please. So all the gameplay has been deleted. I'm going to get rid of the duel portal. And then just have you do a wave part. Now, because the gameplay was invisible previously, and I am really bad at making decoration, especially to fit the style that's already been decided on, I think what I'm gonna do is make gameplay out of these invisible slope blocks. Something like this. Yeah, I think that's a good start to all of this. I don't want to make this too open, but I also don't want to make it oh, every click is a frame perfect, blah, 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 you know. So, because it's a blind transition, I gave you these 2 clicks for free. But yeah, it's gonna be pretty high CPS, but I don't want to make it, like, oh, impossibly difficult, so... It's not gonna be that entertaining to watch, so I'll probably just time-lapse this, so hold, please. Alright, so I've made some beginnings to some mini-wave gameplay. It's nothing too interesting, but it's definitely better than the minus wave that was here before. Okay, I am halfway through this whole wave part. And I forgot to put a thing here. Alright, now I'm halfway through this wave part. And I've decided... Are you kidding? I forgot another... Now I'm halfway through this wave part and decided to put a big portal here. Because... Gotta change it up somehow, I don't know. Yeah, it is looking very unfun. But still better than the minus wave. We keep going. Oh my god, that was horrible to make, but I finished with the big wave, because it is much easier than the small wave. As you can see, the gaps are more open, and yeah, it's overall just easier. I added some gravity portals, you have to click in the middle of slopes, or let go in the middle of, you know, just to keep things interesting, and maintain, at least somewhat maintain the difficulty that we had before. God, it sucks. I'm sure the invisible blocks won't look horrible when it comes to the level, I hope. I don't know. I'm just gonna have to hope. So yeah, that's that one done. So then you gotta hold on the hold this dash orb along these red orbs. Then I got some good news and some bad news. Bad news is, got another minus wave. Good news, you can actually see it this time. Somewhat, a little bit, kind of. Alright, let's do it. Okay, so I have an idea for this. But first, I need to clear out these gravity portals. And I'm gonna get rid of these dumb spikes. Okay, so, for this first mini wave here, I was gonna grab all of these, like, bottom parts of the slopes, and we're gonna move this down by 1 space. And then we're gonna do the same to the top part, and this decoration here that indicates where the gameplay actually is. So let's go do that. Okay, there we go. So, we have, you know, these paths for the wave to go through now. Now, I do want this to align you correctly for the whole wave thing. So, I'm gonna try... Because I want to do, like, the Arcturus wave deal. Where, you know, it is a duel, but both of them are being controlled by the same person, and hopefully people understand what I'm talking about. So I'm gonna go make that exist now. There we go. Okay, so the first click here is the first click here is given to you for free. As you can see, you don't die to any of that. Then you gotta actually play the wave. I know. My idea for this part was we exit the duel. This is a little less minus wavy than before, but what I wanted to do for this is, since it is a duel, and coming up here, like, the parts, you know, are so vastly different, I wanted to have you, like, have random invisible teleportals that will teleport you from here to the top path, and you're just gonna have to adapt. Obviously, it won't be using the random trigger. I say random as in, you know, unexpected if you're sight reading, but easily able to learn. Okay, so I'm gonna just do the normal nerfs to this wave part. But then I think around here, I'm going to put a teleportal that goes up here. So then, if I just play this, and suddenly you're up here, we'll have another teleportal bring you back down. Now, I am going to go through and just nerf this wave into oblivion, because it's not easy right now, so let me just do that really quick. There we go, that actually flows quite smoothly. Okay, so I've done some nerfs to this ball part here. Nothing too much, just removed a couple of spikes and some of these, like, you know, 1 frame blue orb, click, whatever things. So then what I think I want to happen is right here, we get the teleporter, take you up there. And then we're just gonna remove these, make these clicks a little bit easier. Yeah, honestly, those clicks are kind of free. I might buff these a little bit. Hold on. There we go. These are still doable. And a lot harder. Now, I'm just gonna pre-nerf this wave part because we're definitely gonna be having you teleport down into it with the whole gimmick that we've got going on here. So let me just do that really quick. Okay, so I got this wave nerfed, but obviously we're going to be up here, so let's make this work. Alright, so this will be pretty simple. I'm going to remove these spikes from the straight fly because they're invisible and we don't like macro buffing here. And then right here, we're going to put the teleportal to bring you back into the wave. Since this part's a little more open, it'll give you more freedom, especially since it's ship and you'll probably have the chance of accidentally holding into it, and we don't want that to happen, so just make this as forgiving as possible, despite it, you know, being literally CYCLOLCYC. Hey guys, it's me, VoiceOver Mep. So, unfortunately, I kind of forgot to record the next 2 hours of my work, but that's okay. What I did honestly wasn't too interesting, and on top of that, after realizing that I had forgotten to record, I gave a little brief summary of what I had done, so super sorry about that, but at this point, I do have the better microphone, so the audio quality will be way better than before, so have fun. So, here's a brief summary of what happened. I made this, I made this, I made this, I made this, and I made this, and I made this, and then I made this. So now we're making this. I mean, there really wasn't much to my thought process for each of these. I just tried to, you know, nerf these, make them possible, but every single one of these little chambers had a different gimmick, so, like, this one was, you know, pink and green dash orbs alternating, so I tried to keep the same gimmick, while obviously nerfing it and keeping it fun, at least fun to watch, maybe not fun to play, but that's the idea. So now we're on to the last little chamber here. This one doesn't really have a pattern, it's just a bunch of random orbs, so let me cook something up. There we go. That works. I'm happy with that. So now this whole part's done. Again, sorry you couldn't, like, see it in its entirety. You will be able to see it in its entirety during the complete showcase of the level, though. But now, we got this ship section. And it generally looks pretty easy, you know? It's just a couple of, you know, little ship maneuvers until you, you know, turn off preview mode and find out that it is not easy. So I'm gonna get rid of all the macro buffing spikes, and then, I mean, that should hopefully be all that there is to do for this ship. We'll see. There we go. So now it's just that. Got these portal. Okay, let's just try this out, see how doable it is. Yeah, that's not bad at all. So then you have to fly through this gap, which is actually insanely tight. And you got this dumb wave. I don't know, it's like a little pseudo-minus wave. I don't like that. I really don't. Although, what I could do... Yeah, give me a second. Okay, so now what should happen is we go into this wave portal, and it's... God, that's still insanely hard. Alright, let's go into preview mode. Well, let's exit preview mode. So, we go into this wave, and then we enter this little mini wave corridor like that. It's still really hard, but I definitely think it's much more doable than the original. It is much more doable than the original. I don't know what I'm saying. Definitely think. Yeah, it is. So now I go back into ship. Call me basic, but this might just be what we do. I feel like this level's had a lot of waves, so I might just not do the bottom part of this duel, the wave part, and we'll just keep the robot at the top. I'll grab all of this and move it down by a quarter of a space like that. Now that's still really hard, but a lot more doable. Okay, and then I think I'm going to do the same thing for this structure here, where I move it down by a quarter of a space. And then, once again, just going to move this all down by a quarter of a space. That part is done now. Alright, this part, I won't do anything fancy. These clicks are just not doable in the cube game mode, so they're just... Huh. That click was strangely doable. Although, did I die to this? Yeah, I did. Okay, so that complicates things a little bit. So I'm just gonna take some of these spikes, just the ones that are along this slope, and then put them onto not that, onto no touch. You won't touch the spikes. I feel like I don't have to explain this. Okay, here we got these 3 blue orbs. I think we can just replace them with a dash orb, like this. And then once again, just get rid of this crap. Okay, right here, I'm gonna put a pink orb down. Oh god, this spam's gonna be rough. Okay, how do I make this possible? I'm gonna get rid of these spikes, first of all, to make entering that wave more consistent. And now I have a choice that I can make. Either I can just delete all of these spikes so that you still have your mini wave and you still have to do the spam, just not, while avoiding all these other spikes. Or I could put D blocks on all of these slopes and have you do like a wave consistency thing while the level just brings you up and down. I think the raw spam in itself, without D blocks, makes this a little too difficult. So what I'm gonna do is add D blocks to these slopes. Okay, so you can just slide under these. Is move all these lower ones down by a couple spaces until they're able to, kill you if you don't do anything. Okay, so I did that with the top and the bottom spikes. So now what I'm gonna do here is get rid of, certain spikes, move them around, just make this possible. There we go, I think I got something that I like. So, basically you go in here and then that. I didn't do it, but it works, so whatever. So now I got this robot, and first of all, these spikes are invisible, and I don't like that, so bye-bye. You still have to jump, don't worry, the hitbox sticks out. It's still not an easy click, but now it's not, an impossible click. Then you go hyperspeed and have to do this. What can I do to this? Okay. So since this isn't 2-player, the dual gravities are linked together, so this just won't even work. Even if I tried to, make it possible or whatever, it just won't work. So what I did here is I put these 3 spikes here. Now, it doesn't look like it does a lot, but it's basically doing this jump, but just at a faster speed, because the bottom one can't hit these top spikes. The top one still has to go over them. I hope that's possible. Let me try it out just to make sure. Yeah, that's doable. That's absolutely doable, but it's like hard. So, yippee. This is more just like making the level not macro buffed in difficulty. Okay, so I tweaked around the gameplay for here, made it not macro buffed. It's still really hard, so I'm definitely gonna, do something about that, but honestly, this part isn't horrible. It's this wave that I'm concerned about. This, I'm bad at the game. But, right here, we have, mini, dual, fastest speed. We're gonna get rid of mini and dual, and then also remove these spikes in the middle here. So then you still have to spam as the wave, but it is nowhere near as difficult or precise. Uh-oh, what's that here? A dash orb. Not in my CYCLOLCYC. Yeah, other than that, this part's pretty much doable. And then we have the second save that we've all been waiting for. Okay, so now I have this part where it keeps switching from ship to wave, and I'm a big fan of this part of the level. First things first, I'm gonna make this click right here just completely auto, because it is blind and I don't like it. Okay, and then I'm gonna get rid of these spikes because they make it not fun. Then we got this wave part. So first, deleting these portals, obviously. And then I'm gonna delete all of these spikes. It's already looking more doable. But I do think I'm gonna move this bottom structure down by the tiniest bit, because it still looks a little too difficult. There we go. I just nerfed it by half of a space just to make it a little more doable. Alright, this ship, again, the basic, just get rid of all of these spikes. Honestly, the whole rest of this part's gonna look pretty much the same, so I might just go ahead and time-lapse that, so let's do it. Okay, so I think I finished this part. It's really long, so I'm not gonna show you the whole thing. That's gonna be saved for, the showcase at the very end. But what I will say is that I'm very happy with the changes that I made. It still stays very true to the original while not being, insanely hard. And now we're on to the minus wave again. Second minus wave. Yippee. Alright. I do have an idea for this one. I do have to get this setup right first, so let's do that. There we go, I got the setup. It should remain consistent across all attempts. Okay, since it's pretty blind going into this, I'm once again going to give you the first clicks for free. Okay, so I give you this whole part for free because I don't want to make you do that off of a blind transition. That's not fun. Alright, now to unminus this wave. This is going to be a lot of work, so let's just do it. Okay, that was genuinely the least amount of fun I've had nerfing this level. Like, it was genuinely so unfun to nerf this wave. I missed a spot, are you kidding me? Yeah, no, that was genuinely never again. Of course, we're doing it again, this time mini, so that'll be... It'll be horrible. Alright, now time for the mini wave. Let's just get this over with. Okay, making that was genuinely horrible, but it is done now. I don't often ask this, but like, if you guys could just consider subscribing, just for the multiple hours of suffering that I went through to make this one wave part, just so I can make this video possible, that would be great. But like, if you don't want to see my content anymore, don't do it, obviously, but I just thought I'd ask. Anyways, this wave is done now, and oh my god, it is horrible. But whatever, that doesn't matter. It's not meant to be fun. It's meant to be CYCLOLCYC. So now we have this ball ship duel, but the ship is just like dumb straight fly, so I'm just gonna make it a ball part, because, you know, we don't need the ship, okay? I'm sorry, we don't. It's so unnecessary. I am going to actually keep this click, since with the ball you can hold, and it won't, you know, make you die. So I'm gonna keep that there. It won't add that much to the difficulty, really. It's just you click the blue orb as soon as you hit the blue pad, you know? Okay, these blue orbs, I feel like I should nerf them, but these clicks still feel doable. I guess I could nerf this spike here, like that. I think that's all the nerfing that really needs to be done to these. Oh, I just realized all of the orbs in this part are invisible. Oh, that's going to be so much fun to play. That was sarcasm. It's going to be horrible to play. Okay, I'm going to get rid of all of these and just make it a pink dash orb. And then you just hold. It's not orb spam with dumb spikes in the middle. Because that orb spam is already insanely difficult, so yeah, we don't need that. And then here, I'm going to replace this spike with a blue pad. So you go up, you hit this orb, and then this click is automatic, because I don't want that many hard clicks in such quick succession. That's actually not as hard as it looks. I will be nerfing this spike here, though. There we go. Now it's a lot more doable. This part, god, I don't want to just make it, like, do nothing in this corridor, but I kind of have to. There's not much that I can do there, other than, I guess I could add a spike like this. You have to click and then click again. Yeah, I'm not opposed to that. I'm sorry, I'm still just, like, thrown off by how horrible that wave part is. Again, this part doesn't seem that bad. Like, considering this is, you know, CYCLOLCYC, like the former top 1 impossible level, these clicks aren't seeming like the most impossible things ever. I don't know. It's really hard to commentate on exactly what I'm doing, because it's basically just the same thing every time. Like, you know, there's a chain of blue orbs, so I nerf some of the spikes around them to make it easier. That's pretty much what this part is looking like. So I might just go to a time-lapse here and save you guys the trouble of hearing me say the same thing over and over. Okay, this ball part is now done. I think I cooked with it, not gonna lie. Anyways, now we got this straight fly. I think what I'm gonna do here is these gravity portals, and then delete these spikes, and delete these spikes, and finally delete these spikes. So now, you know, it's pretty lenient. Obviously, it'll be kind of hard to see in the... Oh, you won't be able to see it at all. Oh, you won't be able to see it, never mind. Now I got this, I love this cube part. I don't know what it is about it, but I just really like this part of the level. I'm going to get rid of these blue orbs and these blue pads. There we go. And then I'm going to put an inverted blue pad inside of this block here and put that on hide, just so that when you jump, it changes your gravity instead of you having to do like a 1-frame click on a blue orb. Alright, we're gonna delete these spikes, just make it like a triple spike. It's still not an easy jump, but much more doable than before. I got this orb spam. Okay. Obviously, we're gonna delete these spikes. Okay, I think that's the click pattern that I want to go with. So I guess we just mess around until I find something that allows for that click pattern to be possible, so... but the layering of this part is gonna be rough. Whatever. Okay, hope I nerf this enough. It should now be, you know, humanly possible. Okay, so now, got more stuff to just delete. Right here, I think I'm gonna get rid of this whole, like, block of spikes here. So I can then move this spike down by 1, making the entry into this part, you know, easier, since it's a little bit blind where you're gonna enter here based on where you jump off of here, so yeah. Then, for the rest of it, this mostly looks good other than this blue orb here, because you gotta hit this twice. So I think what I want to do is keep one of the blue orbs here, but then take this entire structure here and move it down, and then add another blue orb right here. So you do have to click those in pretty quick succession, but it's still doable. Alright, again, just with deleting the invisible spikes, I'm also going to take out this dash orb here, and then I'm also going to remove this dash orb, and replace it with another blue orb like that. Alright, now let's see if I need to nerf any of these spike pillars. There we go. Nerf this part up a little bit. Should be a lot more doable for a human now. Okay, just like the ball part, the rest of this part's pretty much just the same that I've been doing, so we're just gonna time-lapse this, and I'll see you guys when this part is over. Alright, there we go. I finished it. I'm happy with it. It's, you know, possible for a human, and that's pretty much all I'm going for. I got another one of these straight flies to absolutely butcher, so let me just do that really quick. And I'm also going to be getting rid of this box, obviously, because it tracks one player, so that your other player has to, you know, be perfectly in line with player. And yeah, we're not doing a duel for this part, though, so nope. Alright, I'll be honest, I've been pretty excited to work on this part. So yeah, a lot of this is like straight fly, then 2 dash orbs on the whoop whoop, and then yeah, that's pretty much what it is throughout the whole thing, but I think it's fun. Yeah, we're gonna get rid of all these macro buffing spikes first. Okay, now I'm gonna do something interesting here. So I think I'm actually gonna get rid of every orb that's not these dash orbs. Alright, so the thing about these dash orbs is that now they aren't required to hit. See, I hit right here and still able to make it past it, but I still think it'd be easier to hit the dash orbs. I'm like 90% sure it's easier to hit them. And like, if you want to skip them, I'm not gonna like force anyone to hit them, you know? I want people to kind of play, well, I don't want anyone to play this level for the sake of their mental health, but if people do, I want them to play it however they want to play it, you know? As long as you don't die, I feel like that should be all that you need to do to get through this, not have like hidden toggle orbs in here that makes it that they're required to hit. Like, I don't like that very much, so yeah, that's what I'm doing. Alright, and there we go. I got this part finished up. Now we have this final wave. And boy howdy is it way harder than it looks. You only see like these spikes and these spikes, it's really like all these, but I'm probably just speaking random stuff and no one understands what I'm talking about, but that's okay. Oh, perfect, there's a layer for all of the macro buffing. That is beautiful. Okay, so first things first, I'm gonna nerf the straight fly, but... Okay, there we go. It's really hard to see what I did, but essentially, this straight fly is now like, you know, a lot easier like normal, and then here you go into a big wave portal. So I have some helper blocks here to help with the transition, and then you gotta spam. Okay, despite there being other objects on layer 6, making it annoying to delete all this macro buffing, what I can do is grab all of this, and then go to delete custom static, and it should have deleted some of the objects. Okay, that's fine, I can do the rest manually. I think I'm also going to get rid of the gravity portals inside of this wave part because they're invisible and I don't like that. Okay, that's almost the whole level done. I just need to finish up this straight fly at the very end, which I don't want to exist. Okay, super nerf to that straight fly, so now it's just like, you fly straight. No way, straight fly. It's crazy. And then that should be the entire level done. Yes. This sucked. But I did it. Okay. Now I'm gonna record a showcase. So, yeah. Let's do it. Okay, so before we get into this showcase, I have two things I want to say. Number one, off camera, I did a bunch of balance changes to this level to make it, not a piece of crap in terms of balancing. And number two, somehow the foreground in the entire level just broke, and I can't be bothered to fix it, so just pretend it looks good, okay? So let's do this showcase. So there you have it. I'm not going to sit here and pretend this is anything good. If you want to go and try to verify this level, don't. Um, with all that being said, if you made it to the end, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. God, I'm so glad this is over.